Great. Thank you, Senator Fields and members of the committee. I'm Dr. Melissa Flournoy. I'm the chair of Louisiana Progress Action. I am a former legislator. I was actually elected in 1991 when we only had 5 women in the legislature. I want to thank Senator Mizell because yesterday in the Health and Welfare Committee, we had a lot of heartfelt testimony, including my own, about issues that I think were very educational and helpful on understanding some of the issues that Dr. Mixon mentioned today. I know that many of you have just voiced your support for women and girls, and so I would like to say thank you, and I hope that will translate into support for equal pay for women. How about that? But I just feel like this bill limiting young transgender girls from participating in sports really is unnecessary. And given the recognition that these issues are difficult to comprehend, we're sort of in new territory here in the legislature, I'm just not sure that this legislation is necessary and needs to be passed today. I'm really kind of wondering what we're trying to accomplish, given that so few women would be affected by this. But I want you to know that I'm 100% supportive of sports for girls and women. I want all girls to have an opportunity to play and succeed at sports. But there's a wide range of skills and abilities in the capacity of individual girls. I'm 59 years old, and I really, Mrs. Johnson's comments resonate with me. I remember when I played sports in high school, and I support all the Title IX requirements to help women in sports. In fact, in my senior year in high school, my girls' basketball team was so overmatched and in a new league, we lost every game. I think that's where I learned persistence and tenacity, and to stay in the game. We played against some amazing girls. If any of you are from Ruston, you may be familiar with the Cedar Creek High School. I'm not even sure it's still in existence, but when First Baptist Church High School played Cedar Creek High School, they beat us 104-12. And that was in 1979. So I want you to know that made a real impression on me, okay? I'm 5'6". The tallest person on our team was 5'8". And the Cedar Creek girls, which is up in Ruston, these girls were warriors. They were amazing. They were Amazons. We were shocked. They were the tallest, most beautiful, 6 feet tall blonde girls from Ruston that you've ever seen. And many of them went on to play basketball in college. It was just astonishing. It made a huge impression on me. One of my dear friends, Margaret Kimball Eaton, is 6'2", stunning, remarkably talented young woman, and played basketball for Texas A&M. So what I want to say is that there is a wide range of skills and body types and abilities and strength and endurance of girls, okay? And the point I'm trying to make is that it seems sort of like there's this sense that there's going to be this unfair advantage of this flood of transgender girls wanting to play sports somehow in an effort to muscle other girls out to get scholarships to play basketball at LSU. One of the things I liked most about Kim Mulkey coming to LSU is one of the things they announced is that she played against the boys in Dixie League baseball when she was 12 years old. And so I think that we really do need to recognize the athletic ability and the talent of the young girls in our state. But cisgender girls, and that means the anatomy assigned at birth, can play on the same teams with girls of very different capacity, height, weight, strength, all of that. And so this wide variation of athletic competency seems to be what people are afraid of, okay? People seem to be afraid of this issue. And the testimony yesterday talked about the young people who are transgender, some of the challenges that they face. I think one of my concerns today that I want to recognize is And as a former legislator, I always address legislation from this framework. And I think, Senator Fields, I thank you for sort of your questions prior to this. But what is the problem? Does this legislation solve the problem? What are the unintended consequences of this legislation? And frankly, is this legislation even necessary? Is this an issue in Senator Mizell's district? Are there existing problems that are created that are hindering the success of girls' sports? Are there so many transgender girls in districts that want to play sports that it's causing a problem? I would like to say that the Louisiana High School Athletic Association's requirements are probably the right place for this conversation. And their requirements are so harsh that no transgender girls would ever be able to play in high school athletics. So I actually think this is a bill in search of a problem instead of a solution. And it is completely unnecessary. The NCAA has made separate arrangements. The NCAA Board of Governors firmly and unequivocally supports the opportunity for transgender student athletes to compete in college sports. This commitment is grounded in our values of inclusion and fair competition. The NCAA has a long-standing policy that provides a more inclusive path for transgender participation in college sports. Our approach, which requires testosterone suppression treatment for transgender women to compete in women's sports, embraces the evolving science on the issue and is anchored in participation policies of both the International Olympic Committee and the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. Inclusion and fairness can coexist for all student athletes, including transgender athletes, at all levels of sport. One clear expectation of the association's top governing body is that all student athletes will be treated with dignity and respect. We are committed to ensuring that NCAA championships are open for all who earn the right to compete in them. When determining where championships are held, NCAA policy directs that only locations where hosts can commit to providing an environment that is safe, healthy, and free of discrimination should be selected. We will continue to closely monitor these situations to determine where NCAA championships can be conducted in ways that are welcoming and respectful of all of our participants. And so, what are the unintended consequences of this legislation? There may not be many transgender girls that want to play high school sports or college sports. There may actually be many elementary age young people that want to play sports. There may be some unintended consequences from this legislation. But what is the actual impact of passing this bill? It's really not to protect children. I hope you understand the national business climate and how these anti-transgender bills affect our ability to keep the Sugar Bowl and attract championship games. And in fact, we're scheduled for the Final Four next year. And the NCAA has already said that it will not go to states that pass these types of laws. So is this bill necessary? No. This bill is seeking to create a controversy and foster fear of transgender children and young people. Your concerns are about sports that are already addressed by the appropriate governing authorities of sports at the high school level and at the collegiate and Olympic levels. And so I hope that you will voluntarily defer this bill. I understand your concerns. I understand your fears. I understand that the world is changing rapidly, and frankly, I agree. I want to protect women's sports for all students and for all children who identify as girls and women. So thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it.